Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, today we are going to have an introduction to the passive voice, and this is what every student, mainly the language level, of course, should know before dealing with the passive sentences. Of course, this is what we call the prerequisite. Of course, every student should know these things here. It may seem to you a bit too much, but believe me, it is what you need. Now, first of all, you should know what is transitive and intransitive verbs. So, transitive verb, it is a verb which has one object or two, and intransitive verb, that means the verb doesn't need an object. For instance, you've got right here, can be transitive or intransitive. So we say, she writes, full stop, or she writes the letter. Okay. She gave me a chocolate. So this is a verb here which has two objects. We call it a detransitive verb. Or some verbs in English, like this one here, dogs bark, so they can be intransitive. So you should be very careful. Some verbs can be intransitive, some verbs can be transitive, and some verbs can be transitive and intransitive. Now, two, you should be able to identify the subject of the active, the verb of the active, and most of you will say it is very easy. When I say the verb, that means the tense of the verb. Two, you should be able to identify your object. It means which word is the object. This is one. Is it singular or plural? Very important. So once you identify the object, you should know if it is a singular or a plural. Now, how do we identify, how can we identify the object? We will see. Now, to identify your object in the sentence, you are going to ask the question, well, what? For things, or who for people? So you ask the question with what for things, object, or who for people. Now, example, sorry, James wrote the letter yesterday. If I want to identify the direct object here in this sentence, and I say, what did he write yesterday? Sorry, yesterday is missing here. What did he write yesterday? So my answer is the letter. Then the letter is a direct object, of course. If you cannot ask this kind of question, you cannot formulate this question here. So just to help you, of course, this is not correct English, but to help you to save your day, you read the sentence like this. James wrote what yesterday? If it is an object or a thing, or if it is a person, you say who. So we say James wrote, for example, who. So in this case, it is what. So we say James wrote what yesterday. So the answer is the object. If you don't have an answer to what or who, then it is an intransitive verb. The second example, we say Peter invited Susan. So what is the object here? So we say, who did he invite? So the answer is Susan. So Susan is the direct object, of course. Or if you cannot ask this question, so you say, Peter invited who? So the answer is the direct object, of course. But sometimes you've got a verb, you may have verbs which have two objects, of course, like this one here, sent. So we say, they sent us a present. So we have two objects, direct and indirect, of course. So we have two objects here, direct and indirect. To identify the direct object, you ask the question with what? And you say, what did they send to us or us? Because the sentence is, normally the sentence should be like this, they sent a present to us. So we ask the question with what did they send us? A present. So a present is a direct object. Or if you cannot ask the question, so you say they sent us what? So it is a present. Once again, this is not correct English, of course, but just to help you find the object. This is that concerning your direct object. Concerning your indirect object, of course, usually it comes after the verb. But we ask the question two to identify. We can ask a question two to identify the direct object, of course. Then my question here is, to whom or to who? You can ask many questions, of course. We say, to who did they send a present? Or to whom did they send a present? Or we can say, who did they send present to, or whom did they send present to? So my answer here, it is us. Us is the indirect object, of course. They sent a present to who? You cannot make a question like this. So you read the sentence like this. They sent a present to who? Or to what? If it is a person, so who? If it is an object, so we use what? So to for what? For things. Okay? Or we can have another example here. He bought his son a new bike. He bought his son a new bike. So what is the indirect object here? So we say, for whom did he buy a new bike? For whom did he buy a new bike? Or he bought a new bike for whom? If you cannot make the question. So the answer is his son. Then his son here is the indirect object. So we use to and for who for people. I hope it's clear, of course. 2, 3. Every student, of course, maybe third year level, of course, you should know how to form English tenses, of course, positive and negative and interrogative. You should know how to form your tenses and whether it is the positive or the negative or the interrogative. And you should know by heart, of course, the auxiliaries, to be, to do, and have. 4 tenses, positive, negative, interrogative too. Number 4, you should know, you should know by heart your personal, personal is missing. So personal pronoun object. These are, for example, you've got the subject here, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. And these here are very important too. So you should know them by heart too. Why? Because when transforming passive sentences, if the active sentence contains a personal pronoun object, it must be turned into a personal pronoun subject. That's why they are very important. For example, we've got us in the active sentence, like this one here, us. So we are going to turn it into a personal pronoun subject. It becomes we. So that's why they are important. Now, how do we transform sentence? Of course, we've got how do we transform sentences here from passive to active? Now I give you this small plan here, they can call it, and you should remember it whenever you want to transform the sentences, of course. So an active sentence has got a subject, and here is the verb, and object, of course, whether it is direct or indirect. Now, when you transform the sentences, you always use this. So this is the passive here. This is my passive form, my new sentence here. So the object here becomes the subject. See? And the subject of the active becomes the agent of the passive and is placed at the end of the sentence. And it is preceded by. Concerning your verb here of the active, so in the passive, you must. I'm saying you must use the auxiliary to be plus the past participle of the verb of the active. And what is important here is that to be here must be used in the same tense as the active verb, meaning if the verb here is in the simple present, to be must be in the simple present. If the verb is in the simple past, to be must be in the simple past. If this one here is the future, so it must be put in the future. Then this RS here, that means the rest of the sentence. If you've got longer sentences, so you finish the sentence and then you mention the agent. So I think it's clear, sorry. So to remind you, of course, so this is what I said. So the object of the passive becomes the subject. To be must be put in the same tense as the active verb plus the past participle of the active verb. Then you've got the rest of the sentence. Then your agent here is preceded by and placed at the end of the sentence. And of course, the agent is not always mentioned, of course. We mention it when it is necessary for the meaning of the sentence.